Hey everyone, this is Asif and you're listening to Hello Educator. Today's episode is from Mango Science Radio and the episode is on vaccines. The story is narrated by Ranjitha. Hope you like it.
Hi everyone, this is Ranjitha here to share a story on discovery of first vaccine. Today we all are sitting home and waiting for the COVID-19 vaccine. The same way people in 18th century were waiting for the magic to happen. That is to get rid of smallpox. In 18th century, smallpox was one of the biggest killer. This incurable disease wiped out large number of the world population. It started with flu-like symptoms followed by rash developing into blisters that covered and disfigured the whole body. There was no effective treatment. Once infection had taken hold and the result was deafness, blindness and almost certain death. But it was during this time Edward Jenner, a country doctor, was to discover a breakthrough that could purge the world with the killer disease and change the medical history. For good, all he needed was the world to listen. To understand why Jenner took on this killer disease, we need to go back to when he was a child. When he was a child, this disease was treated with a method called variolation, where a doctor would cut open the pustule of smallpox infected patient. You know what is pustule? It is a small raised part, just like blister, which contains pus in it. So, after opening the pustule, they would take the pus and dry the extracted material and rub it into a cut on the arm of a healthy patient. So, this method was giving someone a weakened version of smallpox. And when they actually encounter with the smallpox, antibodies produced earlier would fight and make them immune to smallpox. But this method was better than nothing. In experiment at that time, about 2% of people died from that procedure, and the infected people became contagious, putting friends and family at risk. In other words, it was extremely expensive and only available to rich. One of those variolated person was a teenage boy named Edward Jenner. This procedure of variolation was the talk of the school. So when Edward Jenner and his friends were discussing about this technique, a milkmaid came to them and said she need not be variolated for smallpox as she had cowpox, and added that those who get cowpox would never get smallpox. And this statement of her stuck in the mind of Jenner for decades. And later, Edward Jenner grew up and became a country doctor. In 1796, a milkmaid named Sarah Nelman came to him exhibiting the symptoms of cowpox. Remembering the mention from his youth, he asked her whether she had smallpox. She said she hadn't. Having studied both animals and people, Jenner knew disease could pass between animals and people. But cowpox was a mild disease causing mere lesions on hands and arms and also not very infectious from person to person. So he thought, was it possible that infection with a mild cowpox could provide immunity to deadly smallpox? He decided to test this theory on James Phillips, the son of his gardener who was 8 years old. But we all know experimenting some medicine on human being is highly unethical today. But in Jenner's defense part, it was likely practical. We assume Jenner has taken Philip's father's permission, but it is worth mentioning that we don't know Philip's part of the story. Finally, Jenner variolated Philip with cowpox. So, Philip got cowpox. As I mentioned earlier, cowpox was a curable disease and Philip recovered from cowpox. Now, Jenner variolated the boy with smallpox. And guess what? Philip didn't get smallpox. So, now Jenner understood that the kid was immune to smallpox because of cowpox he had. He also discovered that the cowpox could be transmitted from person to person, making the vaccination much easier. And that was the term he created, vaccination, from his new Latin name for cowpox, which literally meant smallpox of the cow. He conducted 23 more experimental vaccinations, including on his infant son, and submitted paper to the Royal Society. But not everyone believed Jenner's work due to some objections. One among that was religious people who thought that vaccination interfered with the divine plans or polluted human form with animal matter. But despite opposition, Jenner worked to promote vaccination as safe and important. He published to all the countries, America, France, UK and so on. But then, in 1958, something amazing happened. A Soviet health minister asked the members of WHO to form a global campaign to eradicate smallpox. And WHO asked all the countries to use this vaccine. And in 1979, smallpox now only existed in lab. Less than 200 years after the first vaccine, smallpox was gone. At this moment, I feel it is worth mentioning that smallpox is the only human disease to have been completely eradicated. Thanks to Edward Jenner for his dedicated work which is keeping all of us happy today. I hope you enjoyed the story. Stay tuned for interesting stories.
And that brings us to the end of today's Mango Science Radio episode. Hope you really liked it. Big shout out to Ranjitha for sending her story. If you are a science enthusiast and you would like to share your story with us, please contact us via WhatsApp at 99522435541. Alternatively, you can also email us at hello@themango.co. I will catch you in the next episode of Mango Science Radio. Stay home, stay safe.